top 500 Fortune companies, helping them reinventing their growth. So they are bringing private sector, and they are understanding, bringing commitments from private sector, and also finding opportunities, as I said earlier. Three unique partner we have in this project is the M&E, Monitoring and Evaluation Partner, called IDF. And again, we felt this is such a complicated program running in 7 states of India, where we are working with variety of partners, private sectors, government, and stakeholders, women. We needed a concurrent monitoring and evaluation agency who could test the processes and the new models which are evolving from time to time. And so that is the role being played by IDF, who is monitoring, but at the same time giving critical guidance to succeed in this project. Project is working on 3 verticals, and 3 verticals are creating a job creation, enterprises building, and third is information gap. Under these 3 verticals, these partners are testing the new models of public-private partnerships. And again, our aim is not just 1 million women. Our aim is to bring a model that can be adopted and also replicated across India. And that's our aim. In order to do that, we are trying to reach out to the sector-specific approach. Although we are taking the lead private sector to come and give their inputs in training, developing curriculum, but later on we want them to absorb these women and also create a pool of similar skill set for other industries. So in order to do that, we are working with sectors like steel, where Jindal Steels is leading, plastics, textiles. In service sector, we have retail, hospitality. IKEA business is leading the retail sector, skill set in retail sector, where they are helping in developing curriculum, and also not only training women and training the trainers, but also absorbing them. After absorbing, we are taking a step beyond. Again, IKEA, somebody said in the morning, Mr. Pai said that a lot of women who join the workforce, their participation is very low, as low as 24%. But if you go deeper, these women, they join at that level, but if you see the data, how many stay in the job would be even lower, significantly lower. So we are working with the help of IKEA, creating a model, a corporate, that can create an enabling environment for these women to stay. And that is what IKEA is developing, this career development program, as training schools, and how these women who join as cashier should not remain a cashier. And there are examples. They have a store manager who would be starting in Hyderabad. He joined as a cashier, but today he's heading store. And that's the pathway we want for women. So with this, I think I would end. I think we hope that these models would be perfected. It's a proof of concept we will be creating with the help of this project. And all that IKEA Foundation is supporting, because we believe in women. We believe that women, if you invest into women, they can really be the catalyst for change, not only in their own lives, but also in their generations to come. With this, we believe that just because women, we are dealing with underprivileged women, just because they are poor, their skill set need not be poor. So quality of skill need not be poor. So with this, I will stop here, and thank you very much for your patient listening, and welcoming the question and answers if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana. Atta, you are next. Thank you very much, Mr. Pai. It's a big honor speaking here in front of this audience here. My name is Arthur Gladley, and I am the Managing Director of the Education Department of the Swiss High-Tech Mechanical and Electrical Industries. It's an honor to me to present today the Swiss-Indian Vocational Education Training Initiative. The Swiss skill economic system is among the oldest and most successful in the world. The first contracts companies with apprentices have been done in the 1860s because Sulzer at that time produced steam engines and needed high qualified workers. So that was actually the kickoff of the entire system. Nowadays, from all over the world, people coming to Switzerland, including India. The Honorable Minister Rudy was also here in June in the international conference that I helped organize to see what Switzerland is doing. Within the framework of the Swiss vocational education training system, the focus lies on the private sector. Also, the system grew out of the initiatives from private sector. The government later provided support in the form of institute, training of trainers, counseling, and the legal and accreditation framework. The deep involvement of the private sector but is very, very crucial for the Swiss system's success. Through sectoral membership organizations such as SwissMem, the private sector is directly involved in implementing and shaping the Swiss VT landscape. These sectoral organizations play a crucial role. They determine and forecast the professions and skill set levels required by the economy, establish qualifications, provide content and curricula, and organize various training courses, in particular also for the company instructors. The Swiss central and state government supports the private sector's VT activities through focused interventions in areas such as recognition and qualification profiles, training of trainers, career guidance, counseling, and classroom training through vocational schools who are public. The Swiss private sector at large is willing to engage in training because it receives a direct benefit in terms of productivity gains and competitiveness boosted by innovation and excellent quality of the high-tech products. The manufacturing processing industry, but also other sectors, including the service industry, for example banks, insurance companies, law offices, stores, as well as public and private administration. Imagine that 2/3 of the entire Swiss population had not only been enabled to enter the labor work by absolving a certified VET training, but also got a very good general background to be an active citizen in the Swiss direct democracy. If the government creates favorable conditions, training becomes a mission for the entire private sector, industry services and agriculture, and allows massive scaling up. Economic research on the Swiss VT system has shown that the companies engaged in VT get a return for their investment in the education of young professionals at the latest after the first year of regular work, mainly because of the productive work during VT and the immediate high productivity as of the first day of employment. I cannot enough emphasize that factor, that when somebody is trained, we have a dual system. They are hired by the company, have a defined curriculum for practical education in the company and also in the schools, what we determine, the content, so they know what to do in the company, and when they're done, they have the VT diploma, what is actual federal, they know how the company works. Developing and maintaining a functioning VT ecosystem must be a key object of focused government involvement in India, as well as in Switzerland. This includes creating a permeable system for VT, which opens a careers perspective, including access to higher professional education training and even to university degrees to make the VT route attractive for you, and supporting the availability of well-trained trainers and VT governance staff. I personally started as a mechanic. I did a mechanic apprenticeship, started that, went through the whole system and hold now university degrees. So you see here a person who went through the system as a proof that the system is permeable. By launching the Swiss Vocational Education Training Initiative India in 2008, 2008 to commemorate, we heard it this morning, the 60-year anniversary of the Indo-Swiss Friendship and Establishment Treaty. Swissmem supports India in its huge skill development efforts. Under this program, under this initiative, Skillsonics, who is sponsored today, Swissmem, and even the Swiss Federal Institute for Vocational Education and Training have adapted the Swiss model to the Indian environment. It's not just a copy. It's important to say, because Switzerland is very small, you have other structure. For example, there is no association like Swissmem maintaining the system, so we had adapted it to this environment, and we have so very successfully trained over 5,000 entry-level and existing professionals in India to ensure the quality and sustainability. What's very important of this adapted model, Skillsonics, Swissmem, and the other partners in Switzerland and India have recently launched a new project, Quality Assurance Project, with the objective to strengthen the VT ecosystem in India by providing high-quality training and certification for VT governance staff. Co-founded by the Swiss State Secretary for Education, Research and Innovation, the QAP Quality Assurance Project focus on creating instructors, assessors, what are very important, doing the assessment, master trainers, VT management staff at companies and institutes in India in the field of engineering. I cannot enough emphasize how important the quality of the trainers, instructors is. They need to, especially in our, and I think in all industries and all sectors, need to be hands-on. We observe the people do a theory on the screen and let the apprenticeship somehow doing something on the machine. That's not working. We want to change that. These training units we developed include domain-related practical skills, but equally important, very important, mentoring skill as well as teaching and training, didactics and pedagogy. Training and certification of the first batch of instructors, assessors, master trainers and VT managers in the QA program will start this November already. Skillsonics will be in charge of rolling out these quality projects across India with the support of Swissmem and the Swiss Federal Institute for VET. As of mid-2017, the QAP program will be available to all institutes and companies. So with these words, I would like you, dear colleagues, and I call you colleagues because I think we are all enthusiastic about promoting skills in India as well as in my country, invite you to join this dynamic bottom-up approach, what's completely different, together with the private companies in order to support the Indian Skill Development Initiative for turning India, what you heard this morning, into a modern skill-based economy. Thank you very much. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Arthur. The fascinating presentation, and I would suggest that maybe we should send out 20 million people to you to skill in the next 5 years.
The potential is here, you know, the model would work, not in Switzerland, because it's had 8 million people, and we would kind of multiply the number of people living in Switzerland, and as you know, Switzerland has the mountains, it's already full, so maybe we should integrate Germany, or, I don't know, France.
Thank you very much. Okay, now Ms. Meenakshi Nath, please, Head of Inclusive Growth and Investments Team, DFID India.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Many thanks to Vicky for inviting us and for the discussion on how we can collectively skill up India. We've already heard about the challenges. I think the Secretary of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship laid out a really compelling vision of the new policies, and I think it's great that the Indian government is taking such strides in the offer that they are making to the private sector. And we are particularly happy to partner with India. India has been welcoming collaborations with so many countries, including the UK. It's something that has featured prominently in the discussions between the Prime Ministers of both UK and India. So the last time the Prime Minister Modi went to the UK, the Prime Minister then, Cameron, had said, that we will offer our support to help India achieve its goal of preparing young Indians for the 21st century. So not only the UK government, but also the UK corporates, as well as expert agencies, are all keen to contribute. Skill development is a priority for the UK. All countries have this as a major issue. But also it's an important priority for the bilateral relationship. Very recently, the Secretary of State, Preeti Patel, for DFID, also met Prime Minister Modi again and confirmed our commitment and, in fact, made an enhanced offer. So I'd like to use the session today to outline what UK has been doing in this area and what we propose to do in the future. We will welcome views from you on that. So there are 4 main areas or aspects of our support. One is the sector skills councils. The second is states, which KPMG mentioned. The corporate engagement, obviously very important, and engaging youth. On the sector skills council, we all know, very important role to play in setting standards, systems for certification, so that these can provide signals to both the employee as well as the employer. Especially important if formal sector employment is increasing, as we just heard this morning from you, earlier today from you. So what we have done is partnered with 2 of these, food processing and handicrafts, and we've helped them to develop occupational profiles. We've helped them to design new courses that meet UK quality standards and establish online academies for delivery of training. And of course, we've linked them with UK sector councils for master training. You mentioned, the importance of quality of training. This has shown very good results. There's a huge demand, and we'll continue to support sector councils. The other area is support to states, and we have partnered with Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand. It's great to know that the managing director of the Jharkhand Skills Mission is here. We are very happy that, especially the recognition of prior learning, again, you mentioned that as a priority. This is something that we've already piloted in both Madhya Pradesh as well as Jharkhand. And 5,000 plumbers and welders were tested and given certificates based on their level of expertise. And it's really fantastic that we can see this has resulted in better paying jobs for them. Obviously, this is just a pilot. We will be tracking the full cohort, but it's important that this is upscaled in both these states as well as across other states. Similarly, we are aware of how much there's a lot of money available for skills, but it tends to be through many different schemes that can also create confusion. So we've helped Madhya Pradesh actually have a new scheme which integrates all the schemes available at the state level. And this new scheme is called the Mukhyamantri Kaushal Samvardhan Yojana. And it gives skills mission of the state a nodal role in implementing all the skills schemes and, most importantly, monitoring them. So the aim is to train at least 50,000 youth annually through this scheme. And we talked about tracking again, MIS. So again, for Jharkhand, we've helped them set up an MIS, which enables, you mentioned the need for corporates to set the curriculum. Well, this is exactly what's happening here. They're setting the curriculum, but the government is financing the training. And if the skilled worker is not absorbed with the relevant corporate, then they can go out into the market. And at the moment, the number is small, only 5, but we aim to facilitate 100 such MOUs, including with UK companies. Coming to UK corporates, very keen to play their role in addressing this challenge, partly because their own business growth depends on it, and partly because it's something that India really needs. So at the moment, the UK corporates are training around 350,000 people in India. And they're investing over £12 million in training, both for internal purposes as well as part of CSR. And by 2020, they expect to double their current commitment. I'm sure they'll be very happy to hear about the Government of India's offer that the government is prepared to finance some of this training. If Prime Minister Modi is asked what does UK bring to skills, his answer apparently is branding and global recognition. So There is huge demand for UK's brands, and it opens jobs not only in India but also abroad, and especially in emerging markets. So there are companies like City and Guilds, Pearson, SEMA that are providing trainings directly or in partnership with Indian institutions to give that absolutely precious branding to educational qualifications. And we will be working with the ministry to see if we can provide transnational standards to the centers that Prime Minister Modi is personally keen to establish all over India. Coming to working with youth, we know that just building institutions, setting standards is not enough. We need to inspire them. It's not that easy. We often think if we set up a center, next thing they'll all be flocking, but we all know, because we are in this sector, that that doesn't really happen. So the British Council is working with World Skills UK to celebrate the achievements of successful trainees so that they can become role models for youth. We are also quite excited about an initiative that we have, which is called Startup Wave. It basically caters to young entrepreneurs. It's a digital platform that we've set up in partnership with GIZ as well as IntelliCap for entrepreneurs to get training, mentorship, and even finance. Since its launch in 2014, Startup Wave has extended support to over 600 entrepreneurs in collaboration with nearly 100 industry partners. And we are really happy that it's been recognized by Harvard and the World Economic Forum as 12 breakthrough ideas shaping the future. Do check it out. Finally, the future. Actually, I haven't been able to give you the full list of what UK is doing in skills. We are doing actually a lot more. We want to build on what we are delivering, but we also want to consolidate our efforts so that we can get better value for all. What we propose to do is select a few sectors where we have a comparative advantage and there's a need in India, and work with the relevant associations, sector councils, and states to establish centers of excellence. So the KPMG approach. And we will seek to work with the ministry on this. And what we'll do is that we'll bring together all our initiatives, whether it's best practice on standards, systems, building capacity, testing innovations, or setting up new apprenticeship programs. You know, our third-party assessment is considered of great value to India. So UK has pioneered this and has a lot of expertise in it. So instead of doing it in any sector or any state, we'll focus down on a few sectors and replicate across those. So we've already actually set up one such center of excellence in automotive and advanced engineering sector in Pune, working with both the Indian and UK industry. So we feel it's a success. It's early days, but it looks promising, and we will seek to replicate that. We welcome your views and suggestions on this proposed strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Meenakshi. That is very fascinating. There's one important point that I want to place before all of you. The developed world has got a fantastic skill development system. We see in Switzerland, we see in the UK, we see in Sweden, we heard about Germany, Australia. They only have one small challenge. And we saw the challenge when we went to Japan in a skill mission just about 2 months ago. We visited some of the best skill places in Japan, built over the last 45 years. The only thing they lacked was they have not enough people to skill. But the world has surplus capacity for skilling, and they've perfected it to such an art that is almost unbelievable. So I would take the opportunity to welcome people from all over the world. Please come to India, set up centers of excellence, and train all of us. Some of us might come to a country to create demand for you because you don't have enough people. If you want, not like the Syrians, but skilled people, like the IT people. But please come here and do something. And I think, we got a lot of people that we wanted to skill. Next will be Dr. Koshi, and he heads the apparel sector council, and he's going to tell us what he's planning to do.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here on this Global Skills Summit of FICCI. Thank you for inviting ATDC and IAM through the apparel sector which we represent. Thank you, Mr. Mohandas Bhai, for an excellent helicopter view which you provided today. along with the KPMG report. I think it's eye-opening. But I want to just, go away from numbers a bit and connect you to some emotion. Last 3 days has been, 3 or 4 days has been very splendid. The Union Tribal Minister, Mr. Jewel Oram, visited our Rourkela Center. Madam Smriti Irani, our Textile Minister, visited Rathalam and distributed certificates to about 1,800 mill workers who were earlier displaced. And our Secretary Textiles, Ms. Rashmi Verma, visited our Indore Center. Why I mentioned is, the minister, according to the report I received in Rourkela, after seeing the 149 students of 6 batches of integrated skill development scheme undergoing at the moment, which are all 45 days training program under the integrated skill development scheme of the Ministry of Textiles, he had many moments of tears swelling up his eyes. And one such story I want to read out to you after his visit. A dumb and deaf girl, Ms. Namita Ghosh, after passing out this course, now earns 7,000 rupees a month by stitching at home, and sometimes takes help from the ATDC, which is her close-by training center, as she is comfortable with the electronic machine. Her parents briefed this, and the minister was so overwhelmed and immediately declared that a single-needle Juki machine would be provided at the earliest and directed his staff to follow up the same. Another lady, husband does not take care of the family, typical of what Mr. Mohandas Pai said about our diverse country, and he just narrated how our one state differs from every 50 kilometers. Also spoke how ATDC have trained her to become self-dependent and sufficient with confidence. Another one passed out, Indian English, passed out girl shared about her experience which motivated to join the industry, Arvind Sports, Bangalore. At present, SC/ST students also briefed about the digital training and the soft skills training they are receiving from the center. Why I mention this is, there is some DNA which connects Indian women to the apparel industry, the clothing industry, the garment industry, the ready-to-wear industry, the fashion industry, the embroidery industry, the sardosi industry, the gotapati industry, and hundreds of varieties of such things exist across our country. $229 billion is just supposed to be the market size of Indian domestic industry by 2022. And by 2022, India turned 75. And we seem to have just a ubiquitous secular kind of policy for skill training without differentiating the time period of the sweet spot which India enjoys at the moment on demographic dividend. India's demographic dividend can only be used when that demographic dividend remains. Right now it is a pyramidal system, and everybody knows demographic patterns. By 2035 it starts becoming a kite, much like Japan, which Mr. Mohandas Pai referred to, where 20% plus people are aged and above 50 years of age. Obviously, the country has a very short window of opportunity. And we seem to be making strategies, which has been discussed by the government today morning and also through the report, seem to take this period in one sweep of the brush, which seems to be a little bit surprising to me when we have also emphasized today that how, unless we bring in the women who are only now a very marginal group of people who are getting under training into the main workforce, which one of the doors which I mentioned and read out to you is the apparel sector, which unfortunately never finds a mention in policy. You go to the Hero Honda Chowk, where a worker from Hero Honda, I have nothing against Hero Honda, it's a great company, but the worker meets a person from the mattress clothing company and asks him, what is your wages per month? He says that I'm getting about 10,000 to 10,000 rupees with overtime. And the other person says that earlier the Hero Honda used to be produced taking 3.5 hours. Now it takes only 11 minutes or 19 minutes or whatever is the current time. And the person gets 45,000 rupees. Obviously, there seems to be a conflict in that road where you are meeting these two persons. So the wage is a pattern which is driving away large number of people from taking this industry, which offers them in less than 30 to 45 days training, a job which is safe in terms of ergonomics, because nowadays the buyers have made it compulsory that the chairs which you provide or the stools which you provide should be ergonomic. The conditions of humidity need to be controlled. There needs to be toilets. There needs to be wash basins for washing after food, etc. So there is a compliant industry developing. There are dormitories developing. However, when it comes to who has provided the maximum employment in that Manesar Gurgaon belt, you look at Orient Craft, which is employing about 90,000 people. Shahi Sports, which has got about 100,000 people in Karnataka and about 27,000 people in Faridabad. These are people who have created an enormous number of employment for the women in the country. 82% of the training which we provide are for women. 79% in the main phase and 82% in the pilot phase have been women. Now, obviously, there is a need for understanding that what do we need to do among services, agriculture and manufacturing. In manufacturing, everybody knows that the skill which requires maximum is precision. They require speed. They require manual dexterity. They require communication. They require some soft skills. However, we seem to take a very complex matrix on our head. I was in a meeting in Kerala the other day. The very good work is being done by additional skill acquisition program of Kerala government. But I told the government people who were involved that why are you having 42 or 45, correct me, Mohandas Paiji and our KPMG people. It must be about 20, 21 people, max 21 sectoral skill councils maximum. We already have 42 sectoral skill councils. If you take the world skills, which is a benchmark for skills, it was started just after the Second World War. Thousands of experts have worked over a period of time. And you look at NSDC's report, it says that out of the total number of jobs created, 80% of the jobs are created in 10 sectors. And those 10 sectors, when I look at it, all the 10 sectors are in this grouping. So if you want to really create an ecosystem, which is our re-engineering the ecosystem, instead of creating a highly complex web of micromanaging hundreds and thousands of courses, which finally the women pick up only 3, to my knowledge: apparel, clothing and garment related, beauty and wellness related, and ICT related. Rest of the courses are going a begging. They are not really picked up by women. So then why not give them special incentives to take these courses and employ them? So obviously there is a need to re-engineer. I do agree with this title of this program, Re-Engineering Indian Skill Ecosystem. We have this habit of creating, Amartya Sen ji very correctly said, argumentative Indian. So because we must have argued everywhere, the industry's only link was earlier FICCI and CII and ASSOCHAM. Today, the Sectoral Skill Council have a role. They need to link the industry to the employment-seeking youth. The employment-seeking youth wants an employment-offering employer. But the employer, as I said, from Rourkela, all the 149 girls will have to go to Arvind Bangalore if they have to ecosystem every year. And about 9% or 9.6% of unemployment which is staring at them. And the kind of jobs which Rohit Nandanji was very optimistic. Mohandas Paiji was cautiously optimistic, and KPMG was facts-based presentation. So obviously they have not expressed opinion, being left to the people who are making policies. So with this kind of an ecosystem, we need to really look at what does the current 2016 to 22 India needs, and what from 2022 to 35, which is something which we need to lay now very clearly foundation. Nobody mentioned training of trainers. Just to look at the training of trainers requirement of integrated skill development scheme, for which 15 lakh people have to be trained under the Ministry of Textiles, you require 20,000 trainers. And when I sit in the meetings, I find that, the agencies which are coming through RFP and the quotations, they say that tomorrow we will create these trainers. From one kind of a training, they are making animation and other things, 4 or 5 new sectors they are taking up. And are we really going into the details of these trainees? What are they actually teaching? And where the new National Accreditation Board, when it comes and we do the litmus test of the skills trained, because the skill has one fundamental truth. It has to be demonstrated. It has to be demonstrated with precision. It has to be demonstrated with speed. It has to be demonstrated in a context so that it becomes a competency. Now, that is the whole skill ecosystem. Now, if you want to do that, you need to redefine the large number of QPs which are being generated and the NOS being generated in a very, very narrow segmented manner. Just as much as MBAs were doing well in India, we went to every sector and created a new MBA. And by which the MBA, the standard and the value of MBA went down. Same thing in engineering. We went from general engineering colleges of civil, mechanical, electronics, communication were doing well. We went into micro segmenting the engineering degrees, and finally we found that engineering degrees are going away. The skill sector should not fall prey to that kind of a system. We need to be cautious about what exactly are we training in a skill. Manual dexterity, precision, speed, and communication skill, if it is essence, it is a horizontal view, not about a one spectacle sector. That can be done in 1 week. What he needs to know is whether you are a fork and knife person, or whether you are a that chopsticks person, or whether you are eating your food with hand. All three have different skill sets, and all three countries have different skill sets. And there is therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I would urge that this topic has been very carefully selected, and the reports presented today are eye-opening, and I hope that we will rethink about the agenda before us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Koshi, that is a very fascinating call to see the truth. I think we're very happy that you brought us from the clouds where we were possibly enjoying a global vision to right on the floor to tell us what is happening on the ground. Thank you very much. Now, folks, before we close for lunch, there's a very nice thing we want to show to you. There are two extraordinary women who are here with us today, Pratibha and Harshada Samanta. They set out 18 days ago in a 3,500 kilometer journey across India to find out what is happening in the field of innovation, who are those innovators, what they're doing. And today morning they reached Delhi and we had a big function. Now I want them to come for 5 minutes and just address you and speak to you about what they have done and what they've achieved. Please come. And they are going to make sure that women's participation in the workforce is going up to 50% in the next 5 years. 2 women, 3,500 kilometers, 18 days. And right now they're here.
Okay, I have to admit, there were 3 men supporting us, Sunny, Shailendra and Surya. So, yeah. So we started off in Bangalore, and this was about to discover the Indian innovators, the people at the grassroots level who are innovating. Maybe they're solving problems that is so focused on India, but we saw a lot of young Indians innovating for the next 6 billion. And we are so proud to, showcase them here, some of them here. And CNBC has been a great partner. They've traveled along with us in this journey. Harshada here. And Fiki has been our industry partner for this. And to present this here, I think it's a great opportunity for us. Harshada.
Yeah, and since you all are talking about skill development, we've actually interacted with people who haven't really gone through that actual training. They've helped themselves, they've enabled themselves and gone and innovated, whether it's at grassroots levels or whether it's in the metros like Bangalore, Mumbai and Delhi. But what's been interesting, and Pratibha and I completely agree and wholeheartedly support and completely applaud their achievement of people in small towns. Towns like Ichal Karanji, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this.
Or even Katholi for that matter.
Yeah.
Karad,
Shedbal. They're very, very small cities, and people are doing some great work out there. Great work in the sense of there's a young boy in Karad developing a prosthetic arm, which is going to be analog, and it's going to be perhaps at 1/10 the cost. And most of the innovators we met, and we hope that they'd be entrepreneurs soon, are building for India, innovating for India, and I'm sure they'll...
some of them are not just remaining innovators, they are going on to become entrepreneurs too. In fact, Gopal, Om Prakash Baniwal of Udaipur has built a system which can separate the blood components. And he realized that his expertise does not lie in marketing or even manufacturing. So he partnered with HLL and Pyrotech, and he sold the technology to them, and he's actually going on to innovate more stuff, but left the kind of work that the manufacturers should be doing. brought them all together and thinking more like an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so as a parting thought, of course, I'd like to say that it's great to see a lot of minds getting together and engaging at the fact as to how we're going to skill India further. But we have to salute these hidden gems and these wonderful heroes that we've discovered. And I hope you reach out to them and you help them achieve, great heights. And of course, that's the kind of skill we need to develop amongst people. I would say India definitely has gone beyond jugaad. We are innovators now.
Yeah.
Folks, give them a big round of applause. Okay, folks, I want to thank all the panel members for a fascinating discussion. Narayan Ramaswamy, Vandana Verma, Arthur Glatley, Meenakshi Nath, and the great Dr. Josh Koshi. We will break now for lunch. We will meet again at 2:15 and we will start on time. So we made up time. We're just 10 minutes behind schedule. We made up time and 10 minutes for those wonderful ladies. So thank you very much and we'll meet again at 2:15 in the same hall.